Hello everyone and welcome to the Shiny Things channel. If you've been following the wireless earbuds scene for the last year or so, you most likely came across these two models, i7S and i9S. Now, these two are currently sitting in a very similar price bracket. They also, on paper at least, show very similar specifications. However, I found this to be a little bit misleading because in practice these two are quite different earbuds. Now, I thought the best way to demonstrate this is to put them in one video and contrast or compare their features. So, sit back and enjoy this little battle of true wireless earbuds. First feature is actually what you get in the package. And here i9S scores the full 10 points, along with the actual case and earbuds, charging cable and the user manual. We get in addition a silicone carry case and a little harness plus little carabin to carry your i9s around. Next on my list, I've got build quality. So the reason I gave higher marks to i9s is because it is clearly done from much better quality, harder plastic, it feels very solid, hinge works very well, nothing catches on the hinge. It is not magnetic, but it does close and it stays closed. There's very little gaps and it's done in general pretty well. In the same token, if we look at i7, it feels a little bit more hollow, it's a little bit more kind of loosish. It still closes, don't get me wrong, it still works, it does the job, but in hand it just feels quite different compared to i9. Next feature I'm going to compare is the size of the earbuds, and I have given 5 out of 10 to i7S and 7 out of 10 to i9S, and here is why. Here we can see clearly i7S earbud, and in isolation it looks okay. However, if we are going to put next to it the earbud from the i9S, you can clearly see how much smaller it is. And not only it is shorter and the stem is not as thick, but also the actual piece that goes into your ear is slightly different shape and smaller, and therefore is a little bit more comfortable to wear and has more universal fit. Although again, everybody's ears are very different, so quite different should I say, and therefore this becomes a bit of a personal choice. So the next measurement is size of the actual case, and here the difference is even bigger. Let me show you why I scored i7S quite low on the case size. So in isolation, i7S is not that big, and on the pictures it actually looks quite neat. However, once we bring i9S into the picture, we can clearly see how different these two cases are. So how much taller it is, how much thicker it is, and wider. Okay, so when we put one of these in the pocket, obviously that's where you feel the real difference. Now moving more towards the performance part of the specification, and for example here's battery life, I scored i7S only 3, while i9S scored 5 out of 10. As a matter of fact, both earbuds don't perform very well on that metrics. i7S that I tested only lasted me about 45 to 50 minutes. Once I wasn't listening it too loud, so I managed to get over 1 hour, while i9S lasted a little bit longer. I think I've managed to get about an hour and a half out of them. Both fall quite short from the actual specification which is written on the box, like i9S, for example, says that it will do talking time up to 3 hours. I've never managed to get this much out of it. The same as here. I mean, this playing time is advertising up to 6 hours, and no. I never managed to get this much from it either. Okay, so moving on the functionality features, functionality and pairing. I actually gave them both 5 out of 10. They are very, very similar, the way they operate, the way they connect to your phone, and so forth. I found i9S to be probably a little bit simpler. Otherwise, they do very, very similar thing, if not exactly the same. Okay, so sound quality metrics. As you can see, I gave 3 out of 4 for i7 and 5 to 6 for i9S. To be fair, both earbuds sound pretty decent. I did find a little bit teeny sound coming from i7S, although it still was okay from lower range to upper range, although there is no major bass. i9S sounded better, more robust connection implementation, because I did have a bit of interference on connecting to some phones using i7, while when using i9S there was no interference whatsoever, very clear sound, and in general, yeah, the reproduction of the sound is very good through the range. No major bass, but mid and higher range or upper range is good. Okay, moving to the phone quality. In terms of phone quality, i7S, I tested it with number of phones, and on some phones it was close to unusable. Let's put it this way. People could hardly hear me on the other side, or could hear me with a lot of interferences and crackling and so forth. Now, i9S, on the other hand, is usable. You can actually speak and people can hear you on the other side. So from that perspective, it does the job. I wouldn't say it's fantastic, I wouldn't say it's super clear, but you can have a conversation. One more thing I want to point out, that on both of this, i7S and i9S, only one earpiece is active during the phone call, okay? And that's something to keep in mind. Okay, and what do I think about value that you get? And remember, this is very subjective. This is my personal opinion. I believe you get much better value with your i9S than you get with i7. Okay, so the final score and conclusion. So as you can see, I've got 39 to 43 for i7 and 58 to 60 for i9S. So you would ask, why would anyone bother with i7s if i9S are such a great value? Well, for starters, i9S are a little bit more expensive. Second, there is a target audience for i7. So, for instance, if you don't really care about taking calls and you're predominantly going to listen to the music and watch your videos, i7S can do a pretty decent job. Also, for instance, if you're buying a bunch of presents, holiday presents for kids, i7 again is probably a better choice. They are a little bit bigger, they are a little bit probably simpler to use, if you like, for kids, and they also have flashing lights, which are not very intrusive, but they're there and creates a little bit of entertainment, if you like. Now, i9S, on the other hand, is a little bit more grown-up product. You would use this if you actually want to take calls, if you want them to carry you through your commute, which is maybe an hour and a half, and in general more usable and practical because it does fit in the pocket. It does probably more decent job in terms of battery life and recharging in recharging case. So here you have it, guys. This is my personal opinion. I hope it was useful. I hope you find it useful. And yeah, please subscribe and let me know what you think in your comments below, if you agree or not with my conclusions and my scores. And thanks for watching, and goodbye.